Well, for RCR TV, I'm Sean Kinney, and thank you for tuning in to our Analyst Day event. Joined today by Stuart Sikes, who's the president of Parks Associates, which is a Dallas-based technology research company. Stuart, thank you so much for joining us today.
Sean, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And I'm really excited to dive into smart home connectivity issues with you. But before we do that, can you tell our audience a little bit about Parks Associates and the work that the company does?
Yes, I'd love to. We are about 30-year-old market research and advisory service. We serve really any company around the world that is producing a product or service aimed at the consumer. We provide syndicated market research reports. We do a great deal of custom research analysis. And we also host 5 events in different parts of the world that look at particular aspects of this connected home concept.
All right, Stuart. So, when we talk about the Internet of Things, I kind of like to divide that into industrial Internet of Things and then consumer-facing Internet of Things. In that consumer arena, the smart home seems to be a application that's really taken off in terms of adoption and market share traction. Tell us a little bit about why that is. What makes smart home sort of appealing to a broad enough audience to get IoT off the ground?
Sure. Well, I think the first reason is the fact that consumers have really developed quite a love affair or emotional attachment to devices, technologies that we all carry in our pockets. We find that people are really now never apart from their smartphone. They take it to bed at night. It's their alarm clock. It's with them at work. It's with them in the car. So we've become very attached to technology. The other thing is we've now become very comfortable with technology because of the app interface and these very friendly devices. We find it no longer are most people intimidated by technology. The third issue really is the fact that between these devices being able to entertain us as well as to make our lives more productive, safer, easier, to use my device to make sure my child is home from school or the house looks like it's secured are ways to make my life easier and better, and those are very meaningful to consumers.
All right. So, and like I said, this is sort of one of the early consumer IoT subsets to gain traction. So what do you think the outlook is for smart home in terms of market share, maybe in 2016 and then maybe on a little longer runway?
Yeah, well, our research shows, Sean, that for households that don't have a home security system, the current penetration of smart devices is about 10%. So about 10% of non-security households have at least one smart home product or connected home product. Now, if you look at homes with security systems, which obviously is a catalyst, or we found that it's an important determinant in people having these products, then the numbers are more like 30-35%. So we see a pretty strong installed base of connected home products. We're also seeing some pretty strong growth rates. Sean, the biggest issue that most players in the industry will agree with is the challenge with what we call smart home products, that is, products that are part of a control system. The biggest challenge is lack of awareness. We're very familiar with entertainment products like set-top boxes and DVRs and PVRs and Apple TVs and smartphones. Awareness, however, of even products that are well known, like Nest thermostats, is really quite low compared to, let's say, more common consumer electronics. So the first answer to your question is that's the barrier to overcome. If you look at how that's being overcome today, it's through several ways. I was in Best Buy this week in Houston, Texas, and was pleased to see that there's a whole shelf dedicated to connected home products. So Nest and their competitors, Ecobee and others are there. So that's building awareness. Of course, the Comcast, the AT&Ts of the world are spending a lot of money through advertisements, commercials, et cetera, to help us become aware of what's out there. Retail stores like Lowe's with their Iris system are starting to put these products in front of people. So the near-term outlook is that the phase one is getting people aware of these products, the fact that they're available. The heavy lifting is being done by some of the big players now.
Yeah, you mentioned the Nest thermostat, Stuart, which really is sort of almost a figurehead device associated with smart home. And, from there, if you were to ask me to list other sort of smart home applications, once I got through thermostats, lighting, security, I would kind of start running out of things. So how do you develop this market and keep creating new innovative services and devices that still fit under the umbrella of smart home?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think we have to look where we are today, and then you have to suspend sort of your knowledge or your history about other products to think about how connecting them may bring value. Let's talk first about the products that you just mentioned that we're familiar with. So thermostats, the Philips Hue lighting system and its competitors. Those for various reasons have an attraction to people. They once they see them, they say, oh, that there's a cool factor there. There is perhaps some utility, like if I don't really want to spend $40, $50, $60 a month for monitored home security, but it's important for me to see, if a package was left on my front porch during the day, then I can buy a fairly inexpensive camera, and that has utility. So there are a lot of products there that have an immediate appeal. Sort of the second tier of that are some products that have been in market for a while. Take, for instance, the Chamberlain for quite some time has had a garage door opener that's connected to the internet. So I can tell right now through my Chamberlain app if the door is open or closed. A lot of people don't think about that as being important, but what's going to happen very soon is that it will be difficult for us to imagine that we didn't have some of these basic home automation features already intact. Then there's the next wave of products that right now the making them connected is a little tougher sell. I'll take, for instance, a connected refrigerator, oven, or washer and dryer. Right now, you think, do I really need that? What's the benefit? Would I pay extra for that? The answer is probably not. But if you're familiar with the Amazon Dash button, for those of us that are Prime members and really enjoy that convenience, the idea that there's buttons around our house, we press it when we need a product, a consumable, and it's our doorstep either that day or the next day, that's pretty revolutionary. And that is a motivation. If I were Whirlpool or GE or someone making a white good, and all of a sudden I see that Amazon has taken a spot on my appliance, don't I want to play in that role and have some slice of that transaction? So I think we'll see over the next 2 or 3 years that there'll be more use cases that consumers can identify with for why some of their devices should be connected. Then let's take like a third phase further out, and let's think, really outside the box about some outlandish things like, why would I have a connected cereal box? Why would I have maybe would I have a connected toilet paper roll in my bathroom that orders the toilet paper before it gets empty? Right now, that sounds far-fetched, but with the price declining of technology and the availability of these things, it's very feasible that less than a decade from now, almost everything in our home is going to be connected, and there is some value associated with that connectivity.
Yeah, I really like the Amazon Dash buttons. That's a really innovative product. And, they made that announcement on April Fool's Day, and I was convinced for a few weeks that it was now I've seen the light. So, but one thing I wanted to ask you about, Stuart, that I have a trouble understanding as it relates to IoT is all of the data that's created. The point is to correlate this data and make some sort of meaningful, actionable decision about your behavior. And this isn't a great example because it's not smart home, but I like to run as my exercise. I used to have a Garmin running watch, got rid of that and replaced it with a different brand. So I lost 18 months of data because I can't integrate it into my new product. So what sort of needs to happen around that space to make different products produce data in a way that they can work together and be analyzed to, actually sort of meet the goal of the product in the first place?
Yeah, I really think it's the wild, wild west for cloud services now. Right now, of course, we see products like the ones you mentioned, the wearable, the Runkeeper apps, et cetera, that do a good job of collecting some data that become useful to us. Then what happens to that data as we move from product or they become lost or damaged? So really the question is, as I leave one vendor's silo, how do I take that data with me? Clearly the industry doesn't have a standard way to do that now. It also raises the question of when we get to a point after some consolidation in connected devices that that there are 3 or 4 big cloud services. So if there's ABC cloud service, then I might have chosen B as my cloud provider. And so even though my device has changed, I always tell my device, oh, my data is kept on cloud service B, and here's my ID, and tap into that. A lot of things have to happen between competitive vendors. For one thing, the device vendors have to essentially cede that part of their business and agree that that's going to be a part of a third-party transaction. Maybe there's some benefit or some slice of that revenue that goes to the product manufacturer. Some we might be paying, instead of paying AT&T just for my cellular, internet, and TV services, then my cloud storage might just be a part of the bundled services in the future.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm really interested to see how that develops because it seems sort of like a fundamental issue around consumer IoT is how do you continue to get meaningful data out of these devices as the market creates new devices for you to buy. But then, when we consider data and just look at what's going to happen as more and more objects become connected, just this volume of data is going to explode. And so what I think about so much is if everything around me is going to be connected, some of it might need cellular connectivity, but the way that service providers price data currently, I just don't know if I could, afford to purchase a data bucket for my sneakers. So how do you foresee price models adapting to accommodate all of these new connected products?
Well, that's a good one to think about. If we look at the history of telecom services, of course, metered voice gave way to unlimited voice, and then metered texting gave way to free texting. And now we're in metered data, which is quickly, my plan just went from 10 gig to 15 for the same price. So I think we're chasing the curve where the service providers are for that data to be metered or unlimited. So then we have to think about what's next. Is it machine-to-machine data transmission that's going to become metered? And then, of course, that's a barrier. I'm not going to buy your connected sneakers if that's going to add too much money to my monthly AT&T or Verizon bill. So then the device or in this case the garment manufacturer is going to have to step up and cover some of that cost. So it may be that the model moves from one that right now is user pays all to one that maybe product maker pays all or pays some portion of it. Or we might also move to a model of sneakers as a service, to use your example, where for $20 a month I get connected sneakers, and I may just trade in the ones that I'm tired of and get some new ones. So I don't have the answers, but I think it's clear we're going to see a lot of new business models being offered that take a lot of the burden off the consumer and wrap it into either sort of monthly fees for a number of different services that's a flat rate, or perhaps I buy the sneakers and connectivity's already rolled into the price.
And Stuart, this next question might require a little bit of long-term speculation on both our parts, but right now the sort of access hub of smart homes is Wi-Fi, and I don't really see that changing anytime soon. But if we can look maybe a decade down the line when 5G has been commercialized and these data price structures have been adapted to accommodate the IoT, what's the role of Wi-Fi in that world? Would it still be the preferred network of choice at home, or will cellular be so ubiquitous and so cheap that there won't be a place for it?
Well, good question. Let's think of network services in 3 buckets. There are your cellular services, which at some point will be 5G. There's the bucket of Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, which are short range or intermediate range, free services. And then there are a lot of specialty networks, so the Zigbee, Z-Wave, even DECT, ULE, and others that have an important place in the smart home or connected home now for specialty applications. So one of the things we'll see is that Wi-Fi and Bluetooth iterations that become more power efficient, faster, and really serve more roles will follow the path of the installed base of Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So I don't think we're going to see Bluetooth or Wi-Fi ever having a lower share of, let's call it the device network share than they do today. I think they'll probably increase, but we'll see new versions that can do things and therefore appeal or be more applicable to other devices that right now are not so well served by those protocols. Of course, I agree with your statement that 5G will play an increasing role. And for many devices that move around a lot, for instance, it might always make more sense. Your connected sneakers will probably always be 5G. Maybe they'll switch to Wi-Fi when you come into your home. But certainly there's room for those different protocols to play a role. I don't think we're going to see a shift to one, singular network architecture ever.
Yeah, and that's a lucid point. I guess it kind of gets lost in the mix, but IoT products, they all have their own different sort of throughput needs. Like you could never realize the tactile internet without 5G, but industrial applications like smart meters, they don't need that level of throughput because they're just sending a packet an hour kind of scenario. So Stuart, as we wrap things up, tell me what sort of smart home trends Parks Associates is looking forward to in 2016.
Well, I think we're going to continue to see the smart home products, again, those that are not really entertainment related, that are controls related, continue to grow up. We're seeing a lot of success with cameras, with internet connected or networked light bulbs. Smart light bulbs are doing quite well. We're seeing some products like smart locks are picking up traction in the marketplace. So I think what we're going to see in 2016 are the point solutions. By point solutions, I mean products that do one thing very well. The Nest thermostat's a good example. Those products have had some success. I think you'll see continued success in 2016 for people that say, aha, I get it, and I want one, and it serves me well. Once they get 2 or 3 of those devices that serve that niche need well, they're going to say, gosh, I wish these products talk to each other, because now I have 3 different hubs, and I've got different apps, and it's getting too complicated, but I like them. I want simplicity. That's when we're going to see those companies that have a bigger ecosystem, like Nest, like Lowe's Iris. Once you find a product you like and it works and you keep it, you can stay within that app ecosystem, and you can start adding products. With Nest, of course, there's smoke detector, there's a camera. With Iris and Lowe's, there are dozens, maybe 100 or more products that work within the ecosystem. So really, to summarize what I'm saying is 2016 is going to continue to be the point where if I'm a vendor, I need to win your business by giving you a point solution that makes your life better. When you fall in love with that product and you say you want more, I need to have a bigger story. And that's what I want to show you, this big ecosystem that has 15, 20, 100 products that all work with the same hub and the same app.
Well, Stuart, I appreciate you taking some time to discuss smart home and IoT with us. I think 2016 really is shaping up to be a fascinating year in that regard. And thank you again for filling us in on Parks Associates and the work that you guys do, for taking part in our Analyst Day.
It's my pleasure. I look forward to talking with you again, Sean. Thank you.
Well, for our